The grim entrance to the Silver Dragon dungeon appeared before them, guarded by 2 sentries. Rosaria's dainty-heeled shoes, shrouded in a blue glow, trod the stone floor. One of the guards, noticing the approaching figure, exclaimed, "Her Majesty!" A woman with long silver hair stood back and ordered the guards away, wanting to speak to the captive alone, the Queen of the Silver Dragons. Rosaria appeared in all her splendor and power. Rosaria addressed the chained hero, sneeringly wondering what it was like for him to be a prisoner of her clan. The captive, a young man with signs of beatings, said with a defiant look in his eyes, "Kill me!" A sly smirk appeared on the queen's face as she heard his request for a quick death. She approached him, touching his chin, and noted that he was handsome and determined, but he would not die easily. A sharp blow landed on the captive's face, and the queen added that a few more scars would make his appearance perfect. The captive groaned in pain, blood streaming down his face. He pleaded with the queen to stop the humiliation and act faster, whether it be murder or dismemberment. Rosaria, tasting his blood, then offered him a chance to join the Silver Dragon clan, alluding to his unjust captivity. With a challenge in his gaze and a barely perceptible chuckle, the captive questioned whether she was worthy of his service. The queen's eyes flashed with anger at the impertinent question. The enraged Rosaria unleashed a powerful blow on him, knocking him back and breaking his chains in a puff of dust. The captive coughed, struggling to recover from the attack. The queen stepped on his chest, angered by his insolence. She contemptuously asked Leon if he still thought he was a great hero who dreamed of destroying the Dragon Clan. With a cold chuckle, Rosaria declared that he was destined to die here, calling him an ignorant loser. Pressed beneath the queen's foot, Leon clenched his teeth as he listened to her words. He defiantly suggested that if she spared him, his descendants could enjoy wealth and glory. Rosaria remarked with a chuckle, "An interesting hypothesis. Unfortunately for you, you have no successor, so such a day will not come." With a challenge in his voice, Leon objected, "Rosaria, don't underestimate people." Suddenly, the queen's tail, enveloped in radiance, wrapped around Leon's neck. She lifted him into the air with her tail, noting his stubbornness. Leon gasped, his hands desperately trying to loosen her tail's grip on his neck. Struggling to squeeze out the words, he uttered, "Her Majesty!" Rosaria, with a mocking smile, wondered if he was finally ready to beg for mercy. Gasping, Leon stated that she had made 2 mistakes from the beginning. The queen looked surprised, uttering, "Huh," as Leon continued, saying that her first mistake was to be alone with the most powerful and trained dragon slayer. Leon, still held by her tail, continued, saying that her second mistake was that she should have never. With eyes blazing red, he shouted, "Wait! Taste my blood!" Rosaria's eyes widened with horror as she realized she had been trapped by the blood curse. Leon broke the grip of her tail with effort, freeing himself from choking. The queen jerked back her tail, slackening its grip, and Leon landed on his feet. A blush flooded Rosaria's face, and she felt an unbearable heat engulf her body. She sank to her knees, grabbing herself, puzzled as to why her body was reacting this way. With a confused and flushed face, the queen asked herself what the hell was going on. Leon, standing over her, declared that very soon she would suffer a lifetime of pain brought to her soul. A close-up of Rosaria's face was shown, drenched in sweat, with a tear running down her cheek as she heard his curse. Suddenly, Rosaria lunged at Leon, catching him off guard. The queen pressed Leon against the wall, her eyes burning with the red fire of passion. Leon, completely confused, questioned, What's going on?" Rosaria breathed heavily, her face flooded with a blush, and Leon realized the situation was she, aroused. Giving in to the effects of the curse, the queen kissed Leon, her hand gently touching his cheek. A close-up of Leon's eye reflected his amazement, while his cheek showed the marks of her touch. An hour later, shoes, boots, pieces of clothing, and broken chains were scattered on the floor. Rosaria's eyes still glowed red. She looked on with a thoughtful expression covering her bare breasts. The queen began to speak. She then turned around abruptly, her face contorted with anger as she faced Leon. With fury in her voice covering her nakedness, the queen asked, "What did you do to me?" Leon calmly explained the essence of the blood curse, a forbidden technique that created a soul bond through his blood and would condemn her to eternal torment after his death. Rosaria, not believing her ears, screamed, "Bullshit! If this spell works after you die, what just happened then?" With a note of embarrassment, Leon admitted that it was an accident, a side effect he hadn't expected, thinking the curse would only manifest itself with the pain of his death. Blushing and clenching her fists, the queen ordered him in a rage, "Shut up!" With a slight chuckle, Leon continued, reminding her, "But as far as I know, you dragons follow the rule of monogamy, right?" The realization of the consequences reflected on Rosaria's face as Leon explained that once he was dead, she wouldn't be able to find a new partner, leave offspring, or explain to the clan what had happened. She only squeezed out, "You." Leon, echoing her recent words with a sneer, reminded her that she too would now have no successor, no heir to the dragon family. A flash of purple energy surrounded the queen's hand as, unable to contain her anger, she shouted, "You bastard!" raising a hand shrouded in a blue glow. Leon, with a fatalistic chuckle, suggested she not bother stating that he'd die soon enough as it was. Pain was etched on both their faces as the woman uttered a curse, condemning the man to a life of hatred and misery. The silver-haired woman, full of determination, adjusted her outfit, mulling over what he had said. She approached the scarred man, accusing him of wretched revenge and questioning his desire to die. With an expression of disbelief on her face, the woman exclaimed at the unexpected cheapness of what was happening. Surrounded by its own glow, a luminous blue symbol appeared on the chest of the man, his eyes closed, accepting his fate. Leon Cosmod, once a legendary hero and defeater of dragons, rested peacefully in bed, immersed in memories or sleep. At the young age of 5, he had fearlessly defended a girl from a ferocious dog, which attracted the attention of a great dragon slayer who took him on as an apprentice. A 10-year-old Leon gazed up at the majestic building of the Imperial Academy of Dragon Slayers, where he entered and graduated with honors at a record young age. As a 15-year-old young man, he was already fighting on the battlefield, slaying dragons and reclaiming territory for the Empire. Known as the strongest hero and the last hope of the Empire, Leon stood on a defeated dragon representing victory in the war. 2 years after his capture, Leon opened his eyes, his gaze clouded with memories of the past. Abruptly awakening, he shrieked, sitting up in bed, gasping and looking around. Leon tried to comprehend where he was. He found himself in a lavishly furnished, light-filled room. A little girl with dark hair and big blue eyes peeked through the ajar door. Curiously peeking out from behind the door, the girl cheerfully informed him, "Hey, you're awake!" Leon, blushing with mortification, exclaimed, "What a cutie!" Clutching his head, he tried to make sense of what had happened, assuming that his great deeds had led him to paradise, and now he had met her. Pointing to the girl, he excitedly declared her to be a legendary angel, while she perplexedly asked what an angel was. Smiling, Leon addressed the little girl, affectionately wondering about her name. With shining eyes, the girl introduced herself as Munia. Leon repeated her name with a smile, finding it beautiful, but at the same time wondering about the strange black and white color of the angel's hair. Munia explained that her name meant moon, as her mother said. Leon asked in surprise if angels had mothers. Introducing himself, Leon said his name was Leon Cosmod, to which the girl joyfully exclaimed that she knew Leon meant lion. A surprised Leon asked who had told her that, and Munia replied that her mom had said so. Disbelief reflected on Leon's face, and he wondered with bated breath who her mother was. The girl called out the name Rosaria with a smile, and Leon froze as if struck by thunder. A shocked Leon, pointing to himself, muttered, "Your mother, Rosaria." Then While Munia looked at him questioningly. With a beaming smile, Munia exclaimed, "You're a father." Leon's face contorted with shock and horror as the full depth of this revelation hit him. In utter confusion, Leon realized that Munia was his and Rosaria's daughter, while the girl called out, "Ah, Mama!" Leon's gaze was full of shock and disbelief at the sight of the approaching figure. Rosaria appeared, and Munia joyfully informed her, "Mommy, Daddy's awake." To which the queen replied, "Yes, I know." Rosaria looked at Leon and said, "You're finally awake, Leon." Munya said excitedly that Mommy must be happy that Daddy was awake, since she had visited him every day. Rosaria discreetly confirmed her daughter's words, and Leon inwardly exclaimed, "Only a ghost would believe it." The queen asked Munya to go and play as she needed to talk to her father, and the girl happily agreed. Leon hesitantly asked if Munya was really his daughter, to which Rosaria replied with a smirk, "Oh, who else could she be? She's our biological daughter." Rosaria's tail slammed against the door with force as she uttered, "You hate me." Leon, backing away, questioned Rosaria as to why she had given birth to the child and why she had saved him. The woman with silver hair and scarlet eyes, smiling slightly, reminded him of the 2-year period he was unconscious, and the fact that she was not going to forgive the past. The dark-haired young man in the white shirt exclaimed angrily, denying any such desire on his part and saying that their coexistence was impossible. Their gazes met closely. He confirmed that touching her was torture, while she smiled slightly. A lavender-colored scaly tail wrapped around the leg of the young man in black pants. The young man found himself toppled over on the bed, shrieking in surprise as a female figure loomed over him. The woman with the tail ended up on top, pinning the young man to the bed, who anxiously inquired about her intentions. A hand clutched and tore the fabric of the shirt on the young man's chest with force, exposing his skin. Rosaria, that was the woman's name, with a magical glow in her hand, announced her intention to carve her dragon pattern on him while he begged her to stop. A glowing magical symbol approached his body, foreshadowing that this would be his shame and make him her eternal prisoner. With a triumphant smile, Rosaria wondered who people would think he was when they saw the dragon tattoo, a hero who killed a dragon, or a traitor who submitted to the dragon clan. Leon, feeling the pain of the pattern being inflicted, questioned why she would go so far. Rosaria, leaning over him, asked if he didn't understand and explained that the concept of revenge in dragons was difficult for humans to grasp. With an expression of superiority, Rosaria declared that she wanted him to live in this shame and be humiliated by her for the rest of his life, for their revenge combined paranoia, extremity, and the incomprehensible to humans. Leon's face contorted with mixed feelings as the purple pattern continued to manifest on his chest. Rosaria, holding it up, announced, "So, let us begin," and explained that it was her great honor to make Leon the greatest dragon slayer, her husband's slave and closest partner, which was her revenge as a dragon. The majestic silver dragon castle appeared before them, shining under a clear sky. 2 maids walking down the corridor whispered that the queen was in a good mood today, and one of them suggested that it was because of her husband's awakening. Leon, standing against the wall, pondered with indignation that this dragoness had declared him her husband, and how horrible she was. Rosaria, in a passionate outburst, demanded that Leon move faster, laughing while he complained that she had tormented him all day and night and his lower back was nearly broken. With determination in his gaze and a clenched fist, Leon swore that he would never stay here and become her plaything. 4 dragon guards in armor guarded the arched passageway in the castle. In the light of day, Leon, peering out from behind a stone wall, noted that the side door was guarded by 4 dragons, and there was no way out. Leaning against the wall, Leon pondered why there were so few guards in Silver Dragon Castle today, finding the atmosphere quiet and strange compared to his visit 2 years ago. A close-up of Leon's face expressed surprise as he uttered, "Ah." Finding a hole hidden in the grass, Leon was puzzled as to where it came from. Looking into the dark abyss, he wondered if it was a trap. Grappling with his thoughts, Leon decided he still needed to leave even if it was a trap, and he would force his way out. As he prepared to climb down the hole, he mentally said goodbye to his twisted dragon mother, adding that cutie Munya could stay with her for now. Munya, pointing into the distance, happily shouted to her mother that Daddy was digging a dog hole, and it was so cool. Rosaria, lounging in a bikini on a chaise lounge, nonchalantly replied to Munya that she'd seen it and thought it was pretty awesome. Munya curiously asked when Mommy would go and fish Daddy back out. Rosaria gently corrected her daughter, saying that the word fished in relation to her father sounded very rude. The girl was perplexed, wondering what word she should use then. With a sly smile, the queen offered the option of catching him back. After a while, Leon made his way through the dense thicket. By traversing the mountains, he believed it would be possible to see the boundaries of the human lands. He hoped that by running this far, the dragoness wouldn't be able to catch up to him. Suddenly, Leon's face contorted with surprise and alarm. Rosaria appeared in the sky in her dragon form, blocking his path. Rosaria's huge dragon head loomed over Leon, and she remarked that he wasn't a bad runner while he exclaimed in horror, "Ah, shit!" The dragon's huge, scaly tail swooped over Leon, casting a shadow. Rosaria, in her full dragon form, towered over Leon mockingly, wondering if he was having fun playing with her like this. Rosaria's dragon face drew closer, and she asked with satisfaction if his escape seemed too smooth, hinting that she was the one who had distracted the guards and left a loophole. With a determined expression, Leon admitted that he knew it was a trap, but had no choice, though he hadn't expected her to catch up with him so quickly. Rosaria, looking down at Leon, questioned what would happen if he returned to the humans with her mark on his chest, and whether he would be recognized as a dragon slayer. With defiance, Leon declared that he would rather start life as a normal person than endure her torture. With a snicker, Rosaria rebuked him for his ingratitude. In dragon form, flapping her wings, Leon cried out, "Ah!" as Rosaria's huge dragon claws closed around him. Carrying Leon away in her claws, Rosaria responded to his cries of, "Let go! Where are you dragging me, dragoness?" that since he was so eager to get back, she would help him. 3 hours later, under the cover of night, the silhouette of a dragon with its prey approached the border city of the Empire, heading towards a large tree. Leon let out a loud scream, falling rapidly downward, his arm desperately reaching upward. Whizzing through the dense crown of a tree, his fall was accompanied by the crackle of breaking branches. He landed on his back in the middle of the forest thicket with a thud. Grasping his bruised head, Leon wrinkled his nose in pain. A close-up of his face expressed a sudden realization. Perched on the thick branch of a huge tree, he looked out over the sprawling nighttime city below. Puzzled, Leon questioned whether this was really a human city. Rosaria appeared in human form, confirming that this was the human empire. She asked if he felt like he could return to the human world just by stepping across by seeing this long-abandoned city. With a sly smile, Rosaria declared that Leon couldn't go back, even though it seemed like it was a short walk to the city. Leon stared forward in shock purple light emanating from the dragon mark on his chest. Rosaria, standing back, explained what she had forgotten to mention when one of the mark-bearers desired intimacy. The dragon mark reacted. As he approached, she asked with a smirk if he felt the heat and overwhelming desire, and wondered if he wanted to be here. Looking at the nighttime city visible in the distance, Rosaria said she had brought him here so he would realize the shame of being so close to his ancestral home. Clutching his chest, Leon asked defiantly if she thought he would lose his faith over this. He grabbed her arm vehemently, declaring that he would wait patiently for his chance and then he would avenge her doubly for all the humiliation. Rosaria looked at him with surprise and a slight blush, silently listening to his threat. With a sly smile and covered eyes, she uttered, "Oh, okay." Drawing closer to his face, Rosaria said with defiance that she would wait for him dead or alive. A huge tree towered against the night sky and moon with the inscription, "Near the border city of the Empire." Rosaria, with a satisfied smile and hearts all around her, sat on Leon, who was lying on the ground below her. Turning to an exhausted Leon, the queen declared herself very pleased with his recent performance. Lying next to Leon and propping her head up with her hand, Rosaria grinningly offered to bring him here every month to visit his hometown. Leon, sitting up abruptly, exclaimed angrily that she was a dragoness, hovering in the clouds and thinking only of ways to exhaust him. To which Rosaria, in chibi form, formally admitted that she'd been figured out. Surrounded by purple energy and spreading her wings, Rosaria told Leon it was time to go for their daughter was waiting at home. Leon called out to her, "Wait!" And Rosaria turned around with a questioning expression. With a defiant look in his eyes, Leon declared that as a dragon slayer, he did not wish to be dragged like prey and would go himself. Rosaria explained that it took her at least 3 hours to fly to Silver Dragon Castle, and it took a human at least 10 days or half a month to walk, to which Leon objected, urging her not to underestimate human endurance. With an icy smile, the queen said she wanted to see how long he would last. After a while, a hand breathing heavily pushed the dense thicket apart. Leon, breathing heavily, made his way through the night forest. Rosaria remarked that he must be unable to walk any longer, but Leon stubbornly denied fatigue. With a chuckle, the queen remarked that he only had a well-tempered tongue, causing his resentment to grow. Suddenly, both Leon and Rosaria were alerted, hearing something in the distance. Leon spotted a cavalry unit he identified as the Dragon Killer Army. Hope flashed across Leon's face at the thought that these warriors might help him get rid of the Dragoness. Rosaria's face contorted into a furious grimace that foreshadowed danger. Leon realized with horror that if he called for help, Rosaria, whose eyes glowed ominously, would not hesitate to kill the soldiers. One of the knights of the Dragon Killer Army, a man in armor, called out to them, asking them to stop. The knight courteously wondered if Leon and Rosaria were lost, while Leon tried to discreetly make a sign. Leon, with a smile and a hand behind his head, replied to the knight that they were just out for a walk, mentally adding that he couldn't involve innocent people. The knight warned that this forest was not a good place to walk due to dangerous critters, and offered them a ride. Introducing himself, the knight informed him that his name was Walker, and he was the captain of the 47th Squadron of the Imperial Army of Dragon Slayers. Leon put his hands out in front and thanked them for their kindness, assuring them that they were trained in self-defense, mentally begging the knight to stay away. Walker took a closer look at Leon, and hesitantly asked if his face looked familiar, as if they'd met somewhere. A close-up showed Rosaria's eyes flashing with anxiety and determination against a blue glow. Turning around, Leon saw Rosaria's hand being enveloped in purple energy and realized that things were bad. Leon's hand sharply intercepted Rosaria's wrist, stopping her impending attack, the purple energy dissipating. Leon pulled Rosaria into his arms, telling Walker that he must be mistaken. Turning to Rosaria, Leon remarked with a smile that he had a plain face, and his wife often confused it true, whereupon he whispered to her that he would go with her obediently, but asked her to help get rid of them first. Walker, seeing Leon hugging Rosaria, uttered, Laughing, Walker said he wouldn't get in the way of their love and waved his hand. Leon and Rosaria looked after Walker's retreating squad. Rosaria icily asked Leon if he'd hugged enough. She sharply pushed Leon away, who cried out, "Ah!" Rosaria, arms crossed, told Leon that he did the smart thing by not asking for their help, but there was one thing she stated: that he needed to understand his position. Even though they had children, it didn't mean she was his wife. To which Leon replied that he never thought of being her husband. Rosaria turned away and said they should go. There was still a long way to go. Leon clenched his teeth in pain, grasping his chest where the dragon mark was. His hand reached for the departing Rosaria, his palm showing abrasions. Leon suddenly fell face down into the bushes, causing Rosaria to gasp in surprise. Crossing her arms over her chest, Rosaria wondered with some disdain if he'd fainted. Surrounded by a violet glow, she stated what a fragile human being he was. She effortlessly lifted him up by the collar of his shirt. Turning into a dragon, Rosaria tossed Leon into the air with her muzzle. Leon landed helplessly on the dragon's broad back. A silver dragon soared into the sunset sky, and Rosaria uttered what she would consider a plea for mercy this time. The majestic castle with its numerous towers and spires appeared in all its splendor under a clear sky. Leon let out a quiet groan, coming to his senses in the soft bed. Munya happily peeked out from behind the edge of the bed, exclaiming, "Daddy, you're awake!" Leon, sitting up in bed and holding his head, asked how he got here. Munya, peeking out from under the covers, replied that it was Mommy who brought Daddy back. Leon's eyes reflected the memory of Rosaria in her dragon form grabbing him, and he thought with annoyance that she had finally caught him like prey. Leon looked at his bandaged hand in surprise, uttering, that's... Munya proudly announced that she was the one who had bandaged Daddy's arm, expecting praise. Upon reflection, Leon recalled that draconologists considered dragons to be a ferocious race that spent their lives in violence. And although Munya had obvious draconic traits, he continued his thoughts, noting that she showed no hostility towards him and treated him like a father. He wondered if it was because she was a hybrid of human and dragon. With a smile stroking Munya's head, Leon said she was awesome, to which the girl giggled embarrassedly. Leon told Munya that she was very sweet, but asked her not to become like her mother when she grew up, much to the girl's bewilderment. Rosaria, appearing in the doorway, asked with icy calmness, "What's wrong with being like me?" making Leon wince. Leon, stammering, replied that it was nothing, while Rosaria, carrying a tray, looked at him with evident displeasure. Munya proudly reported to her mother that she had dressed Dad's wound according to her instructions. Rosaria, looking at Leon calmly, said, "That's what you should do." The girl obediently replied, "Yes, Mommy," and Leon mentally noted what a strict mother she had. Leon suggested that Munya hide in the garden first, promising to come looking for her when he counted to 100. Munya's eyes lit up with excitement, and she excitedly asked if Daddy really wanted to play hide-and-seek with her. Smiling, Leon told Munya that he was not like her mother and told her to run away quickly. Leon started counting 1, 2, 3, and Munya in a panic asked him not to count so fast. Continuing to count 4, 5. Leon watched as Munya ran out of the room in a cloud of smoke. Leon abruptly turned to Rosaria, who was sitting on the bed, and called out to her, "Hey, I'm talking to you." To which she questioned, "What?" After getting out of bed, Leon asked Rosaria reproachfully if she was being too hard on the child. Rosaria, sitting on the bed, explained that all dragons went through this, and only strictness with children from an early age could raise strong warriors. Leon objected that Munya wasn't really a dragon, and besides, she was so cute. To which Rosaria replied that Munya was a dragon and cute was a derogatory word for a dragon. With a slight smile, Leon noticed that Rosaria was pretty cute too. A close-up of Rosaria's eye was shown in which irritation flared at his words. Rosaria's hand clutched Leon's shirt with force, the fabric cracking. An enraged Rosaria yelled at Leon that he was just a slave to vent her anger and to stay out of the way. Leon uttered with a confused look, Rosaria, adjusting his collar, said it was good that he understood. She was the queen of the Silver Dragon clan and had many affairs of state, so the care of the child fell to him. Moving closer to his ear, Rosaria added with a smile that the kid loved him. Leon stood on the sun-drenched path in the garden, pondering the fact that she was a dragon queen. Standing in the garden, Leon looks puzzled, thinking about how busy he is and how it seems dragon slayers are now in charge of raising children. He mutters, "Huh." Muin peeks out from behind a pillar. Leon thinks to himself that she's too naive, believing she won't be found. Holding out his hand, he shouts joyfully, "Found you, Muin," in a chibi style. Leon points to Muin, who stands back looking a little confused. A close-up of Muin's disgruntled face is shown. Wondering if she's angry, Leon smiles embarrassedly and scratches the back of his head, apologizing to her for keeping her waiting. Suddenly, Muin runs away. Surprised, Leon shouts after her, "Muin, what's wrong?" Holding out his hand, he asks the fleeing Muin why she's running away. Looking around the garden path, Leon is puzzled as to where she could have gone since he just saw her run past. With a confused expression, he concludes that a child's mood is really hard to predict. Standing in the garden and scratching the back of his head, Leon ponders that it's no wonder Rosisa assigned him to watch the baby. While he is distracted, Muin peeks out from around a corner. Suddenly, she jumps on Leon's back, exclaiming happily, "Ha ha, Muin caught Daddy!" A puzzled Leon asks Muin if she just ran past him. The girl looks at him with a questioning expression. With shining eyes, Muin explains that since Daddy couldn't find her, she went out to look for him herself. With a look of doubt on his face, Leon wonders if he made a mistake. The girl calls out to Leon saying she wants to show him something, and he obediently follows her. Later at a family dinner, which is supposed to be a time for socializing, Leon is agonizing. Rosisa sits across the table, and next to Muin is another girl. She asks her sister to help her cut her food. The two daughters are similar in appearance, but their personalities are quite different. It is noted that Noah, the second girl, is clearly more like her mother. With a friendly smile, Leon asks Noah if she likes today's food. "Disgusting," Noah exclaims, and Leon feels as if he's been pierced by invisible arrows. Rosisa, covering her mouth with her hand, chuckles quietly at the situation. Muin asks her mother why she is so happy, and Rosisa replies that she's happy because their father is finally reunited with his family. The queen turns to Leon, asking why he isn't smiling. He replies with a strange smile that of course he's happy to be with his family. Muin asks hopefully, "Can Daddy have dinner with us every day?" Leon stammers mentally, exclaiming that he doesn't want to have dinner with that dragon every day. "No," Noah declares decisively, cutting off the conversation. "Why not?" Muin asks with surprise. Noah explains that she wants to study in the Young Dragon faculty at St. Heath Academy. Rosisa clarifies with Noah that St. Heath Academy's Young Dragon faculty is full of 4- or 5-year-old dragons and wonders why she's so eager to go there. With burning eyes, Noah declares that she wants to defeat more dragon slayers, causing Leon to choke on his food. Covering his mouth with a napkin, Leon thinks anxiously, "This kid seems to want to beat me? Her own father?" With a concerned expression, Leon tells Noah that dragon slayers are very brave and that she's too young and could get hurt. Arms crossed, Noah angrily objects to being treated like a child. Leon mentally screams, "But you are a child," Rosisa remarks with a smile that Noah's idea isn't a bad one because the sooner she learns, the sooner she can fight dragon slayers. The queen, turning to Leon, challenges him, "Am I right? Or do you have a reason to prevent Noah from going to school?" Leon, looking away, ponders that if he continues to object, Noah will hate him even more as a father. He can only try to gently change her mind. At the table, Leon looks at Noah and utters, "No, no more." Trying to talk her out of it, Leon suddenly has an epiphany. He looks at Rosisa thinking, "Damn, I finally get it." The image of a giant Rosisa appears before Leon, and he realizes that this dragon wants to use Noah to morally attack him during dinner. Clutching his knife and fork, Leon angrily thinks, "Just wait, Rosisa, you'll get your ass kicked later." The queen announces, "Since your father agrees, it's settled. The entrance exam for St. Heath Academy will be held in a month, and your father will help you prepare Noah." Drawn in a chibi style, Noah clenches her fists and obediently replies, "Yes, Mommy." The caption, "End of family dinner," frames the scene. Muin, stroking her round tummy, says to Noah, "Sis, look, Muin's tummy is round." While Rosisa stands behind them, Leon calls out to her. She turns as he stands by the bookshelves, pointing to an untidy table. "These plates haven't been put away yet," Leon remarks. Rosisa looks puzzled. The queen replies with mild surprise, "Just let the servants do it." Leon, putting his hand on her shoulder, explains, "After dinner, the couple cleans up and washes the plates together. It's the proper way to end a family dinner." Drawing closer, he adds with pressure, "Don't you want to create a harmonious family atmosphere in front of the children, even if it's just for show?" Muin, looking at them excitedly, utters, "I'm looking forward to it." Noah stands beside her. Rosisa, covering her eyes, reluctantly agrees. "Okay." Muin raises her hand, her eyes shining with joy. "Muin wants to help too," she exclaims. Noah decisively leads Muin away. "Ah, sis, where are we going?" Muin screams in panic as she's pulled away. In the kitchen, a stack of dirty dishes from dinner sits in the sink under a dripping faucet. Rosisa, standing in the doorway, impatiently asks Leon, "When are you going to help?" Leon, crossing his arms over his chest with a slight chuckle, wonders if Rosisa has forgotten his words from 2 years ago. Rosisa's face tenses as Leon reminds her that she should never be alone with a highly skilled and powerful dragon slayer. The queen, looking up at Leon from below, anxiously asks, "What are you going to do?" Leon explains that he used to be exhausted from his long journey, which is why he was controlled by her dragon pattern, but now things are different. Rosisa's tail, shrouded in a blue glow, rushes sharply toward Leon as she asks, "Are you thinking of escaping with this ruse?" Leon's black-gloved fist meets the powerful blow of the queen's tail. Pushing her tail away, he asks defiantly, "Who said I was going to run?" With a flushed face and an expression of shock, Rosisa lets out an exclamation, "Ah!" Her face contorted in pain and her hair fluttering, she utters, "You!" Holding her tail, Leon grins. Are you unable to do anything about it? He wonders aloud, explaining that the dragon pattern makes the tail extremely sensitive new knowledge he learned from her dragon books. As Leon gets close to her, he notes that dragons like Rosisa are eager to conquer and control everything. His eyes lock on hers. "Were you ever conquered?" he questions. A close-up shows Rosisa's face drenched in sweat. She is sitting on the floor with her back to him, breathing heavily and intermittently. "Release my tail," she begs. Leon, still holding her tail, reminds her, "Since my awakening, you've been stomping on my dignity and treating me like a toy for your amusement." With anger and a blush on her face, Rosisa shouts, "Leon, you bastard!" "How about we switch roles tonight?" he offers. Rosisa, with an expression of shock, embarrassment, and indignation, looks at Leon, who is still holding her tail. Two maids standing at the ajar door whisper curiously, wondering if the time of love between Her Majesty the Queen and her consort is over. Later, the two maids enter the kitchen and are amazed at its perfect cleanliness, wondering if the prince consort did it. One of the maids excitedly holds up a shining plate, marveling at the clean surface. With the door ajar, Leon silently watches the maids in the kitchen. He pulls Rosisa against him, clamping her mouth shut and whispering for her to be quiet. "You don't want the maids to see their normally powerful queen in such a state, do you?" A close-up shows Rosisa's eyes full of confusion and anger. With a sly smile, Leon pronounces, "Very well. Let's get started, my dear wife." Rosisa's blush-filled eyes reveal a mixture of humiliation and powerlessness. 3 days later, the majestic castle reappears under a clear sky. Muin and Noah sit at Leon's bedside. Noah notes with concern that her father hasn't woken up in 3 days, wondering aloud if he's dead. Muin replies that they should just wait and see. A sharp blow from a child's hand lands on Leon's face, and he cries out in pain. Noah steps her foot on Leon's chest and declares, "He's not dead yet," while Leon indignantly wonders who is treating their father this way. As Leon comes to his senses, Muin exclaims, "Ah!" in surprise. She looks at him, then happily informs the approaching Rosisa, "Daddy is awake again." Leon wonders when he lost consciousness. Rosisa, standing at the mirror, offers with a slight chuckle, "Shall I help you remember?" Leon's mind flashes back to the moment after that night when the dragon pattern stopped working and Rosisa hit him hard. Sitting on the bed, Leon ponders the cruelty of this dragon, thinking that a normal human would have died from her claws several times already. Looking at Rosisa, Leon notes that she is quite beautiful, even though she is a dragon over 200 years old. "Why doesn't Daddy move?" Muin asks. Noah, arms crossed, snorts. "He just glared at our mother and was stunned." Rosisa's hand casually brushes a flower-shaped ornament off the dresser and it clatters to the floor. She turns in surprise, then bends down to pick it up. Leon attaches the flower to Rosisa's hair, remarking with a smile, "This piece of jewelry suits you very well." Rosisa, with the ornament in her hair, asks with slight surprise and suspicion, "I didn't expect you to be so attentive. Have you done this for other women before?" Crossing his arms over his chest, Leon replies with a chuckle, "As a child, I often brushed the mane of my master's donkey. I was very skilled at it." Muin, looking out from behind Leon's back, curiously asks her father, "What's a donkey?" Leon, depicting donkey ears with his hands, explains to Muin that donkeys are like dragons. They have 2 ears and a tail, are very stubborn, and like to bray when displeased. In front of an imaginary picture of a donkey wearing clothes, a close-up of Rosisa's eye is shown as Leon adds, "Just like your mother." Rosisa punches Leon in the face with force, causing him to cry out in pain. Muin and Noah look worriedly at Leon as he rubs his cheek. "Are you okay?" Muin asks. "I'm fine," he replies. Rosisa, pointing to her daughters, announces, "Your assignment today is to learn how to write your names, and your father will teach you." This causes Leon to resent being assigned the task again without his consent. "Yay, Daddy will teach us how to write," Muin exclaims joyfully. Noah, arms crossed, confidently declares, "I can already write." "Then go to the study room and pick out a pen," Muin suggests. "What color do you prefer?" "Purple," Noah replies. Rosisa informs Leon that her sister is visiting today, and she doesn't want him to show his face. Leon asks with a slight chuckle, "You won't let me meet your family either." The queen, cradling Leon's head, instructs him, "You are now Leon Cosmod, a male dragon married into the Silver Dragon clan who has been in a coma for 2 years due to illness and has recently awoken." She continues, pointing to his chest. "If you were to meet, you would have to play along with my fictionalized identity." A close-up of Leon's eyes is shown. "Understood, Your Majesty," he says. Looking at the departing Rosisa, Leon thinks defiantly, "Dragon, do you think I'll listen to you obediently?" With a sly grin, Leon mentally declares that he is going to embarrass Rosisa in front of her sister. The light-filled children's study room in the Silver Dragon Castle appears. Leon, sitting at the table with Muin and Noah, shows them how to write. "Just follow what I just taught you," he says. "Watch, like this." Leon shows his daughters sheets with their names written on them, Muin K. Melqui and Noah K. Melqui, asking them to copy them several times. Noah, holding up a sheet of her own writing, critically declares, "It's not as good as how Mother wrote it," eliciting a surprised, "Hey," from Leon. With curiosity, Muin wonders what her dad is going to do. He gets up and explains that he just forgot to give something to their mother. Leaving the room, Leon waves and promises to come back to check on them later. Noah looks after him and asks Muin, "Is he stupid?" Jumping up joyfully. Muin notices that Noah seems a little happy, but Noah denies it and tells her to write quickly. A close-up of Noah's face shows a slight blush and a pensive expression as she is immersed in her thoughts. At the gates of Silver Dragon Castle, Rosisa, surrounded by guards, meets a guest with fiery red hair. Aisha Melqui, Queen of the Red Dragons, appears with scarlet hair and a confident look. "Sister, long time no see," Rosisa says, happily hugging her. "I haven't seen you in a year, and you look much ruddier," Aisha points out. Rosisa embarrassedly protests, "I don't think so." Aisha curiously wonders, "Why can't I see your husband? I heard he's awake." Looking away embarrassed, Rosisa explains that he's a bit unwell today and can't meet guests yet. Aisha expresses her regret, saying she wanted to see the Dragon King who kidnapped her sister. Aisha notes with a sly smile, usually the bond between Dragon Kings is based on profit and clan without love. Aisha teases Rosweiss, noting that she and her husband got married and had a child lightning fast, so their relationship must be very good. Rosweiss angrily protests that marriage and children don't signify a good relationship, insisting that she was not, is not, and never will be attracted to Leon. Aisha chuckles, remarking that her sister is still as unapproachable as ever. Changing the subject, Rosweiss puts an arm around her sister's shoulder and suggests a walk through the garden to chat, since they haven't seen each other in a while. The two sisters, Rosweiss and Aisha, walk arm in arm down the garden path, continuing their conversation. The view shifts as if seen through a spyglass. From a window, Leon watches them through a telescope. With a determined expression, he resolves to test the extent of the dragon pattern's effects. Walking through the flowering garden, Aisha mentions that the Dragon Clan has been unstable lately, especially the Fire Dragon King Constantine, who has been very active. Rosweiss says his name anxiously as the silhouette of a fire dragon appears in the background. Aisha suggests that the flashy Constantine likely wants to expand his territory. As Rosweiss listens thoughtfully, a purple dragon pattern suddenly flashes across her chest, causing her to flinch. A close-up of her eye reflects her inner turmoil. Trying to hide her condition, Rosweiss laughs and assures her sister that everything is fine. Mentally, she curses the damn dragon slayer, imagining Leon relaxing on a chaise lounge with the castle as a backdrop. As Aisha continues to talk about strengthening border defenses, Rosweiss, blushing, struggles to contain her reaction. The effect of the dragon pattern intensifies. Her body seizes with heat, and she bends over, clutching herself. Aisha anxiously asks if she's okay, noting that her face has turned very red. Barely containing her trembling, Rosweiss tells her sister that she urgently needs to attend to some business for about 20 minutes. Aisha offers to escort her, but an embarrassed Rosweiss refuses. With a sly smile, Aisha realizes the dragon pattern has been activated and thinks to herself that the youth seems to be having fun with it. Meanwhile, Leon, relaxing on the chaise lounge, thinks with satisfaction, "Rossweiss, I want to see how long you can keep this up." Rossweiss bursts into the room shouting Leon's name. He feigns surprise, asking why she's back so quickly. Grabbing him by the collar, an enraged Rossweiss accuses him of deliberately activating the dragon pattern to embarrass her in front of her sister. Maintaining his innocent act, Leon asks with feigned bewilderment, "Is it wrong that I want you?" His hand touches her shoulder, eliciting a surprised "What?" from Rossweiss. In a chibi-style cut, her face shows extreme shock and embarrassment, surrounded by clouds of steam. Leon notes with satisfaction that his plan worked. Backing away and covering her mouth, Rossweiss now seems disgusted by him. With her face flaming with anger, she shouts, "Shame on you! A shameless prisoner talking such nonsense! Put away your filthy thoughts!" Flustered as to why she was so easily frightened by his words, the queen snorts that he got lucky this time and storms off while Leon makes a face behind her back, teasing, "Ooh, I'm so scared." Rubbing his chin, Leon ponders how a single dirty word can make her so helpless, thinking the dragon pattern is truly powerful. He then presses a hand to his chest, blushing, wondering why his heart beat so fast when he pictured her face. "Cosmo, wake up!" he orders himself, grabbing his head. "Stop thinking about nonsense!" Later in the study, Muin and Noah are waiting for their father. Muin asks why he hasn't returned yet. At the gates of Silver Dragon Castle, Aisha, Queen of the Red Dragons, prepares to leave. She says goodbye to her sister, and Rossweiss wishes her a safe journey. In her dragon form, Aisha asks to meet Rossweiss's husband next time, to which she readily agrees. Rossweiss then stands with her back to the viewer, watching the night sky as dragons fly against the full moon. With a determined and angry expression, she thinks, "Damn Dragon Slayer, I'll teach him a lesson tonight." In another room, Leon suddenly sneezes while reading a book titled A Young Dragon's Story. Is that dragoness scolding me? He wonders with a grin. He looks over at Muin and Noah, now sleeping peacefully in their bed, and carefully adjusts their blanket. As he tries to quietly leave the room, a hand presses his against the door. It's Rossweiss. "Where are you going?" she asks with an icy calm. "Your sister has gone," Leon asks with a nervous smile. We still have things to do," she says determinedly. In a chibi-style sequence, Rossweiss drags a protesting Leon behind her, commanding, "Follow me," as he yells, "No!" The Silver Dragon Queen's luxurious boudoir is shown. Leon places a wooden basin of steaming hot water on the floor. "The hot water is here," he says. "What do you need it for?" The queen, gracefully seated, declares, "I'm tired from walking all day. Wash my feet. This is your punishment for what you did." Leon kneels and begins to remove her shoe, muttering, "I'm a dragon slayer, but now I'm a slave washing a dragoness's feet." Holding her foot, he thinks bitterly, that damn dragoness really knows how to enjoy herself. I wonder how many dragon slayer corpses she's stepped on. Rossweiss notices his gaze and wonders why he's looking at her feet that way, thinking it must be some disgusting habit of his. She orders him to put her feet in the basin. As her feet are immersed in the warm water, she cries out, "Kaya! It's too hot!" and instinctively jerks her foot back, kicking Leon in the face. Hovering over him, Rossweiss angrily asks if he's trying to get back at her. With a sly grin, Leon retorts, "Who was it that asked me to wash her feet?" Annoyed, Rossweiss notes that he seems to have a short memory. Her foot touches his chest, then presses against his shoulder as she mockingly asks how it feels to be trampled by a dragon. As her foot comes down on his face, pushing him back, a flushed Leon tells her to stop, noting to himself the humiliating yet satisfying feeling. "Let's see how long you can take it," she snorts. A close-up of Leon's reddened eye is shown as he vows not to succumb to her tyranny. His hand firmly grips her ankle. With a blush and a mischievous grin, he declares, "I've eaten the feet of pigs, cows, and goats, but I've never tasted a dragon's." "What are you doing?" Rossweiss asks, wide-eyed with shock. Leon sinks his teeth into her leg, announcing, Tonight's appetizer is raw dragon claws. Against the backdrop of the castle at night, Rossweiss's furious shout is heard, "Leon Cosmo, I'll kill you!" The next day, a sleepy Muin and a thoughtful Noah stare at their parents. "Mom, why are you limping?" Muin asks. "It's nothing," Rossweiss replies curtly. "Dad, why do you have bruises on your face?" the girl asks. "It's nothing." Leon waves it off. Muin, looking bewildered, excitedly suggests, "You must have been playing a fun game without me. I want to join next time." Later in the castle garden, Leon and Rossweiss are strolling. She walks ahead with a disgruntled look while he follows with his hands in his pockets. Two maids watching from afar whisper, "Look, the queen and the prince consort are on a date. Ha ha ha, what a cute couple." One of the maids, however, remarks doubtfully, "But why do I feel like Her Majesty and the prince aren't very close?" Rosisa and Leon's divided gazes are full of silent tension and unspoken emotion. Leon looks at the departing Rosisa, wondering why things have turned out this way. The text explains that it's because of something that happened earlier. A caption, "Some time ago," precedes a flashback. In the flashback, Leon asks in surprise, "Go for a walk. Why should I go for a walk with you?" Rosisa, standing with her back to him, replies that it is also his job to maintain a false appearance of family harmony for outsiders. Leon mentally notes that there is something wrong with Rosisa today. She is unusually proactive, and he wonders what she is up to as she walks ahead with her arms crossed. Muin and Noah, looking out from behind a tree, are whispering. One of them says, "Hey, Dad is so stupid he can't even hold hands." Muin emphatically declares, Muin is going to help them. But while Noah tries to stop her, saying, "Wait." Muin runs out from behind the tree, and Noah shouts after her, "Leave them alone." Muin runs up to her parents, shouting joyfully, "Mommy, Daddy!" Rosisa asks with mild irritation, "Muin, why did you follow us?" Leon's hand and Rosisa's hand separately reach for Muin. Their actions represented by pink and orange dragon silhouettes. Muin, taking her parents' hands, declares, "When walking, you have to hold hands together." Muin announces that she's going to go play with her sister, leaving Leon wondering where the child got so much knowledge. In the background, Noah pinches a crying Muin's cheek. Muin begs her sister to let her go, promising not to do it again while their parents are left holding hands. Leon, somewhat embarrassed, reflects on the unexpectedness of the situation. Rosisa, blushing, says it's okay and that they can continue holding hands. Noticing Rosisa's unusual malleability, Leon admits that he is unaccustomed to it. She suggests that he has tamed her and is now embarrassed by her good attitude. Their daughters watch them from behind a tree. Leon reflects that he has always seen Rosisa as a queen and is surprised by her embarrassment at simply holding hands. He assumes that her strictness as a mother is due to her inability to bond with her children. Turning to Rosisa, Leon wonders why Muin and Noah always call her mother in his presence. She asks if there's a problem. Leon explains that daddy is usually paired with mommy, and since Muin calls him daddy and calls her mother, it may indicate the daughters feel more distant from her. Rosisa asks with a look of surprise if the difference between mother and mom is really that great. With an encouraging smile, Leon suggests that she try having the kids call her mom, assuring her that it will bring their relationship much closer. Rosisa's face floods with a deep blush. She looks extremely amazed and embarrassed by his unexpected proposal. Agreeing to try it next time, an embarrassed Rosisa quickens her step dramatically, dragging Leon along with her. He wonders why she is suddenly in such a hurry. Heading towards the castle, the queen asks Leon if he is homesick. Though she can't let him go, she offers something to ease his longing a little, eliciting a surprised, "Huh?" from him. They stop in front of a huge ornate door labeled Castle Warehouse. "This?" Leon asks curiously. Averting her gaze, Rosisa replies that she hasn't given the place a name. Her hand reaches for the doorknob as she clarifies that he can call it a warehouse, a back room, or whatever he wants. The door creaks open, releasing a cloud of dust as Rosisa adds that the name doesn't matter. Inside, a spacious hall full of treasures is revealed. Is this the dragon's treasure room? Leon wonders in amazement. Looking at a glowing green artifact, Leon exclaims that in the Empire it would sell for hundreds of thousands of gold. Rosisa explains that it is a bracelet given to her by her grandmother as a child. Crossing her arms, the queen adds that in addition to trophies, there are things here that have special meaning to her. Examining a jeweled object, Leon remarks that he hasn't heard her talk much about other family members besides her sister. Rosisa replies that she has never met her parents. She and her sister were raised by their grandmother. Leon shares that his story is similar as he grew up in an orphanage without knowing his parents and was adopted by his mentor and his wife. With curiosity in his gaze, Leon wonders why Rosisa brought him here and what she wants to show him. Rosisa, standing with her back to him in front of a large ornate chest, replies that she has something that can temporarily make him forget his troubles, causing Leon to gasp in surprise. His face contorts in shock as he exclaims, "The black gold armor!" A magnificent dark metal armor with gold accents appears before him. "You always wanted it back, didn't you?" Rosisa asks. Not believing his eyes, Leon reaches into the chest. "Am I dreaming? Are you really giving it to me?" Rosisa, with a sly and slightly sinister smile, confirms, "Yep, that's right." Leon's black-gloved hand touches the breastplate of his armor, emitting a bright blue glow and a sharp sound. An enchanted dragon mark flashes on the armor. "An enchanted dragon mark!" Leon exclaims in despair. "Black gold armor. My good brother, how could you be corrupted too?" With a triumphant look, Rosisa declares, "Heh! You've finally sprung the trap, Leon." Surrounded by the purple glow from the activated mark, Leon angrily questions Rosisa about what she has done. With a triumphant smile, she explains that she has applied a dragon pattern to his armor that enhances its properties activated by touch. Leon's hand that touched the armor finds itself pinned to the floor. He lets out a groan, grasping his chest where the purple mark shines. "Despicable dragon," he utters angrily. "I was careless." Rosisa notes with a sly smile that the enhanced dragon pattern has doubled its effect. Approaching Leon and grabbing his chin, she asks with a sneer, "Ah, my dear dragon slayer, can you bear it?" Leon, clenching his teeth, struggles to pronounce her name. Rosisa pushes him away and he falls on his back, the purple mark on his chest glowing brightly. Lying on the floor and blushing, Leon struggles to think, "Damn. I can't move my body, but the desire in my lower half is stronger than ever." Rosisa, hovering over Leon and propped up on a red couch, asks if he thought she didn't hold a grudge for defeating her. She adds that she'd been thinking for the last few days about how to get revenge and make him let his guard down, but she didn't expect him to get caught so easily. Blushing and clenching his teeth, Leon struggles to utter, "You dragon!" With a sly smile, Rosisa asks, "How do you like my acting skills? Aren't they pretty good?" In desperation, Leon cries out, "Were all your words today about never meeting your parents, having Muin call you mom and holding hands, were they all lies?" Rosisa, snuggling up to him, replies, "No, that's all true. But it doesn't affect what I'm going to do to you now." She reminds him of his own words, asking him what he told her before, while the dragon pattern glows on her back. "Do you remember your question about whether I like to conquer?" With a sly smile and a blush, she confirms, "Ha ha, yes, I love to conquer." Hovering over him and surrounded by petals, Rosisa asks, "Are you ready, my dear husband?" Leon groans, "Damn it." A shot of the castle exterior, focusing on a large round rose window, symbolizes the passage of time. After a while, a close-up shows Leon's face streaked with tears. Finally. It's over, he thinks. Rosisa, with a satisfied smile, looks at Leon lying beneath her, his gaze full of weariness and humility. Touching his chin, she notices that compared to 2 years ago, the scars on his face have faded a bit, but he looks more haggard, like a survivor of adversity, with more of a mature masculinity about him. In chibi style, a furious Leon, arms crossed, shouts indignantly, "Bah, you're trying to fool me again, I'm not falling for it." Rosisa, now sitting with her back to him, turns around and utters with a slight chuckle, You've gotten smarter. Leon looks on in chibi-style amazement as Rosisa, already dressed, stands before him. With a flirtatious smile and a blush, she remarks, "But your stamina is not what it used to be." A close-up of Leon's chibi-style face expresses extreme bewilderment as he utters, "Ah." Against a backdrop of outer space and Leon's shocked face, a chibi-style caption appears, "Leon, you're not in the form you were before." Continuing the phrase in front of an even more shocked chibi-style Leon, the caption reads, "You're not as vigorous as you were before." The chibi-style Leon indignantly shouts, "Ah," as captions like, "Not as good as before" and "Worse than before" emphasize his humiliation. The next day, the majestic Silver Dragon Castle shines under the rays of the morning sun. Leon looks out from behind a door, tired and weary, mouthing, "Coming." In the morning, Rosisa, arms crossed, and Muin, holding a book titled Encyclopedia of Dragons, meet Leon. Rosisa remarks with a sly smile, "Looks like you had a rough night." "This is your fault," Leon angrily objects. Rosisa replies with feigned innocence, "Really, I don't remember." Muin, watching them bicker, thinks, "Here we go again." Rosisa reminds Leon that the entrance exam for St. Heath Academy is very rigorous, and he should start training Noah in dragon knowledge today. With a slight chuckle, the Queen adds, "After all, you can only demonstrate your worth in other areas for now." Clenching his fist, Leon thinks furiously, "Damn it, I just wasn't at my best yesterday." Pointing at Rossweiss, Leon declares that he will help Noah pass the exam, but he wants something of equal value in return. Rossweiss agrees with a slight smile, but warns him not to be excessive. With a determined look, Leon confirms, "A promise is a promise." Smiling, Rossweiss tells him to study hard, but not to overwork himself. Mentally, Leon exclaims, "You're finished." Muin, standing next to Leon, asks why he had a fight with his mom, to which he replies that it's just normal communication. Looking at Muin in surprise, Leon interjects, "Wait, what did you just call her?" A close-up shows Muin's face as she says, "Mom." Leon asks Moon if Rossweiss told her to start calling her that, and which she likes better, the old way or the new one. The girl replies, "The new one." With a satisfied smile, Leon says, "Ha ha, I told you you'd like it." With a book in hand, Muin looks at him with a slight blush, a silent expression of surprise or embarrassment on her face. Noah, holding the Dragon Encyclopedia, impatiently asks when they'll start studying while Leon runs after her shouting, "Hey Noah, wait for me!" In the children's study room of Silver Dragon Castle, Leon sits at a table of books, silently pondering the study materials. Rossweiss appears in the room. "Hey, it's so late, you haven't gone to bed yet." Leon explains that Noah has a strong capacity for learning, so simple teaching won't work. He plans to organize key knowledge and combine it with test questions, which requires him to stay up late making lesson plans. He confidently declares that Noah is a very smart child, and he's sure he can get her ready for the test within a month. With a smug smile, Rossweiss remarks, "It's inevitable. After all, Noah takes after me." "That's not necessarily true," Leon objects with a confident chuckle. Pounding his chest proudly, Leon brags, "I was a dragon-slaying genius who graduated with first place in both written and practical exams every year. I received every top-level scholarship at the academy." With a challenging look, he asks, "So what about you, Your Majesty? What kind of champion are you?" causing her to stammer. Rossweiss reflects with surprise that she always thought he was a brainless fighter, not a top student. With a chuckle, she wonders how someone so powerful became her prisoner, to which Leon, in a chibi-style cut, indignantly shouts that he only lost once, lamenting how one mistake has led to this constant humiliation. Rossweiss then looks in surprise at a plate of yellow chili peppers on the table. Turning to Leon, she asks what he's doing with them. "Oh, these," he replies with a smile, holding a pepper. "I took them from the kitchen to help me stay awake." Rossweiss anxiously warns him that it's dragon yellow pepper, and that as a human he won't be able to handle it. But Leon takes a bite anyway. His face reddens, his cheeks puff out, and flames burst from his mouth as he yells, "So spicy!" In a chibi style, several Leons run around the room in a panic, shouting, "Water, water! There's no water in here!" Enveloped in a soft glow, Rossweiss gently touches Leon's face. He looks at her in wonder. With a slight blush on her cheeks, she explains that her hands are cool and will make him feel more comfortable. Leon, with his eyes closed, enjoys the cool touch of her fingertips on his face, noting that it's not the sharp cold of ice, but a very soft chill. He thanks her, saying he feels much better. They stand awkwardly for a moment. As Rossweiss leaves, she advises Leon to go to bed early and not to eat any more chili, or he'll have to teach Noah sign language. Looking at her departing figure, Leon thinks with a blush that he actually wanted her to touch his face a little longer. He then angrily reminds himself that Rossweiss is the evil dragoness who trapped and tormented him, and that it's perverse to have these feelings in his weakened state. Determined to recover quickly, Leon sits at the table and studies an ancient text, searching for a remedy. His attention is drawn to a page describing the Great Dragon Power Pill, a highly effective medicine for harmonizing yin and yang and strengthening the body. With a face shining with joy, Leon exclaims that he has finally found what he was looking for. The next day, Leon informs Noah that he has graded her test and asks her to guess the result out of 100. Noah, with her big blue eyes, tentatively suggests she scored 50 points. Leon shows Noah her test with a smile, reporting that she scored a 62, which is higher than she expected. Despite this, Noah doesn't look pleased, and Leon notes to himself that the child has high expectations for herself. He praises her, saying 62 points on the first try is impressive. Coughing, Leon suggests they focus on her mistakes, pondering if he ate too much chili last night as his throat feels scratchy. Noah recalls her mother telling her that her father had eaten the Dragon Clan's intensely hot yellow peppers just to stay awake for her. Holding out a small oval green object, Noah says, "This is for you." "For me?" Leon asks in surprise. Noah clarifies that her mom gave it to her, not her. With a warm smile, Leon asks her to thank her mother, thinking that this child, like Rossweiss, is outwardly cold, but just doesn't know how to express kindness. Later in the castle kitchen, two maids bring Leon the herbs he requested, placing them on a table with alchemical equipment. Leon mentally notes that he asked for extra herbs, so the maids wouldn't guess his true intentions. He ponders why, despite the simple recipe for the Great Dragon Power Pill, even the best Dragon Clan pharmacists have a low success rate. He begins by carefully grinding the herbs, then adds them to a cauldron. Hours later, he leans back in his chair, frustrated by another failure. The final step of purifying the potion is the hardest. He vigorously shakes the flask, realizing manual separation is inefficient without professional tools. Through the window, a thunderstorm rages. As lightning flashes, Leon has a realization, recalling his teacher's words that electrolysis can sometimes be more effective than heat for purification. With determination, he decides to use his lightning magic, which has partially recovered. His gloved hands direct blue lightning energy at the potion flask, his power just enough for such delicate manipulation. Half an hour later, a white-gloved hand holds up a small dark pill against a bright glow, heralding success. Smiling confidently, Leon holds up the pill, noting that the Dragon Clan's medicine is quite simple to make. Muen peeks out from behind a table and curiously asks her father what he's doing. "Something good?" he replies, slightly caught off guard by her appearance. "Ah, Muen," Leon says, startled. He tries to hide the pill, nervously assuring her that he's not doing anything. But she curiously asks, "Is that candy in Papa's hand?" Showing her the box, Leon explains, "It's medicine I made for Mommy." Muen anxiously wonders if her mommy is sick. Stroking her head, Leon reassures her, saying that her mom just worked too hard, and this will help strengthen her. Mentally, he adds that he actually made it for himself. With shining eyes, Muen urges her father to take good care of her mother. Leon agrees with a smile that it's his duty, mentally anticipating how he'll take care of Rossweiss once he regains his strength. A thunderstorm rages outside the castle. Lying in bed, Leon holds the pill and ponders whether a Dragon Clan nutritional supplement would have a negative effect on a human, even one as powerful as the Great Dragon Power Pill. Deciding to set aside his doubts, he clenches his fist, ready to take the medicine. A sudden knock on the door interrupts him. Leon is caught off guard as Rossweiss enters. "What are you doing here?" he asks. With a slight smile, Rossweiss reports that Muin told her about the chocolate candy-like medicine Leon had prepared for her. Leon mutters nervously, cringing internally that his little secret was revealed so quickly. Rossweiss calms him down, saying she has no intention of interrogating him, but is simply amazed at his ability to create medicine under such simple conditions. Curious, she asks to see it. Thinking she would take it by force if he refused, Leon hands her the small decorated box. Holding it up, Rossweiss appraises it. "Amazing," she says. "To create a perfect Great Dragon Power Pill under these conditions." Surprised by her praise, Leon wonders if she's mocking him. With a serious look, Rossweiss declares that he can keep the medicine, but he should not take it now. Why?" Leon asks, holding the box she returned. Rossweiss explains that the tonic is too powerful for a human body. "Is it really that powerful?" Leon asks doubtfully. She reminds him that as a human he won't be able to withstand its power. Defiantly holding the pill, Leon declares that he has defeated countless dragon kings and can handle a single pill. "Don't underestimate me," he says, and decisively swallows it. "Courage is the anthem of humanity," he says with a pained smile, grasping his throat. "Leon," Rossweiss says anxiously. His eyes widen with shock as the drug's effects begin. Panicking, Rossweiss shouts that she barely knows any healing magic. Leon falls onto the bed, groaning. She presses her hand to his chest where a magic circle glows, offering to try and neutralize the pill's effects. Leon, squirming in pain, pushes her hand away. "Don't move," Rossweiss yells in despair. Surrounded by a blue electric discharge, Leon clenches his teeth. "Look closely. Silver Dragon Queen, this is the courage and determination of humanity." A blue glow floods the hall as he lets out a loud cry engulfed in electrical energy. Rossweiss watches in horror. Using lightning magic on his own body. What the hell is he doing, she thinks. In a panic, Rossweiss rushes to Leon as he collapses on the bed. Leaning over his still form, she thinks anxiously, he really is insane. "You wait here," she says. "I'll get the court healer." As she turns to leave, Leon's hand suddenly grabs her arm, pulling her forcefully onto the bed. "How did you?" Rossweiss asks, completely bewildered. With a blush and a blissful smile, Leon hugs Rossweiss's tail. "Hey, wife, where are you going?" he asks playfully. Who is your wife?" she exclaims, embarrassed and indignant. She tries to push him away, but he refuses to let go. Rossweiss realizes the lightning magic must have altered the medicine's effect, causing this strange delirium instead of just strengthening his body. She's somewhat relieved that although he's acting like an idiot, his life doesn't seem to be in danger. "Wife," Leon continues. Giving up, Rossweiss asks, "What happened? Just tell me." With a glowing look, Leon declares, "I want a second child wife." "Ah!" Rossweiss exclaims, wide-eyed with shock. He insists, but she indignantly replies that he was useless during her first pregnancy, so he can forget about another one. To avoid complications, she thinks it's better to just play along. She teases him that they should have a third and a fourth child, and he shouts in delight. He's even more obnoxious than usual, she thinks with annoyance. "Wifey, you're so cute," Leon says affectionately, attempting to kiss her. Rossweiss pushes his face away and he protests. Mentally, she wonders when the drug will wear off. "Idiot!" she cries, striking him in the face. Leon lets out a painful groan and curls up on the bed, whimpering. I couldn't resist hitting him, she thinks. Leaning over him with a concerned expression, she asks, "Are you okay?" Clutching his chest, Leon complains, "Wife, I feel a little uneasy." Not good. Rossweiss thinks anxiously. The dragon pattern on her chest suddenly flashes with purple light, catching her off guard. The pattern on Leon's chest shines as well, and he places a hand on her shoulder. Her body trembles at his touch. Leon pulls her on top of him, and despite her outrage, he admits he feels terrible. Rossweiss realizes the combination of the dragon pattern and the lightning-altered pill has heightened his instincts. Leon hugs her tail with tenderness. "I especially like this," he confesses. "My tail has been dragging on the floor all day." She resents demanding he get off her. He suddenly puts a finger to her lips, silencing her. Looking at her with warmth, he says she is especially beautiful tonight. His gaze is soft and amorous. Rossweiss notices the change in him, a madness and determination that is hard to resist. Confused, she admits to herself that she feels a slight sense of anticipation. "Wife, you can help me, can't you?" Leon pleads with a languid look. With a flushed face, Rossweiss reluctantly agrees. "Okay, just for tonight." The next morning, sunlight streams through a window. Leon wakes with a tired groan. He sees Rossweiss beside him under the blanket. "Are you awake?" she asks. "Ah!" Leon screams, jumping out of bed in terror. "Why are you here?" Grasping his shoulder, he complains, "My whole body hurts." Sitting on the edge of the bed, he touches his head. "My memory is a bit fragmented. What happened last night? You don't remember anything?" Rossweiss asks. Covering her naked back with a sheet, her skin marked with signs of their passion, she reminds him with a chuckle. "You didn't forget that, did you, Dragon Slayer?" A look of shock crosses Leon's face as he wonders if he is the one who left so many marks. Embarrassing memories of the previous night of him blushing and begging Rossweiss flash through his mind, and he clutches his head in horror. Covering himself with a blanket, Leon exclaims, "Oh no!" in panic as he realizes the full extent of the night's events. With a sly smile and bared shoulders, Rossweiss asks, "Do you remember begging me for it last night?" Leon clutches his head as he recalls his own words. "Wife, let's do it one last time, okay? And wife, I feel really bad. Please help me just this one time. One last time." Interrupting her, Leon waves a hand dismissively. "Enough. You don't need to repeat yourself. I remember everything." As Leon fixes his shirt, he reflects that he had only prepared the Great Dragon Power Pill to regain his health and teach Rossweiss a lesson, not expecting it to be so effective. Rossweiss, already dressed in her signature gown, asks if he went too far last night and hurt her. "It's all right," Leon replies. With a smug grin, he crosses his arms and declares, "Now you know I'm in good health. Don't say I'm not good enough next time." A mixture of surprise and mild irritation flashes in Rossweiss's eyes. "What?" "What?" Leon asks as Rossweiss approaches him on the bed. Closing in on his face, she states with satisfaction, "I was very pleased with your performance last night, Dragon Slayer. I hope you can keep it up." In a chibi-style cut, Leon exclaims indignantly, I'm in the service industry now." Changing the subject, Rossweiss recalls their wager. "Since you won," she asks, "have you thought about what you want?" "Yes, I have," Leon replies with a relaxed smile. With a serious expression, he asks her to send someone to the Empire to check on his mentor and his wife. "Silver dragons aren't very good at sneaking around," Rossweiss explains, "but just visiting someone isn't a problem." "Really? Then thank you," Leon says hopefully, covering a cough with his hand. In the sun-drenched garden of Silver Dragon Castle, Moon sits at a table with paints and asks Leon if he is sick. He nervously denies it. With a sly expression, Moon explains, "Mama said Papa took medicine yesterday, and that men can't admit when they're sick." Leon inwardly resents the dragoness for telling such a thing to a child. Moon continues to speculate. Is Papa still feeling ill? Was the medicine not effective? Or did you take too little? Papa's mouth is bleeding. In a panic, Moon hugs Leon, exclaiming, Daddy, Daddy, Moon can't live without you. Papa, please don't die." Hugging her back, Leon reassures her that he's fine, thinking that she's just like her mother, ruthless in her own way. To distract her, he offers to make her a new toy. Leon's hands put the finishing touches on a Rubik's Cube. He holds it out to Moon, explaining that she can spin it any way she wants. "Yay!" she shouts joyfully. Leon reflects on the simple principles of mechanics he learned in his alchemy classes, never expecting to use them while babysitting. Later, Leon stands by a garden archway, lost in thought. He assumes he's feeling a dragon's gaze and wonders if it's coming from the direction where Noah is training. He decides to make a toy for Noah as well. That night, Noah peeks into Muin's room and discovers a Rubik's Cube on the table with a note. "A toy for Noah. Find a way to rebuild it." Holding the cube, Noah dismissively declares that she has no interest in such children's toys. However, her hands begin to turn it. A few moments later, with a slight smile and shining blue eyes, she holds up the solved cube and mentally thanks her father. Muin, playing detective, peeks out from behind Noah's door, reflecting that her sister has been acting strangely. She decides to see what Noah is hiding in the box under her bed. Inside, she finds the Rubik's Cube scraps of Leon's black and gold armor and a sheet with the name Noah written by him. Muin is surprised to see it's all related to their papa. With a sly smile, she concludes that her sister is actually very fond of their father. Just then, Noah catches her. "No peeking," she orders angrily. The crest of St. Heath Academy appears. The text explains that it is an aristocratic dragon clan college that believes only a harmonious, loving family can raise a worthy young dragon. To create this illusion for Noah's admission, the Silver Dragon Queen decided to take the whole family for a walk and a photo in Heavenly City. In the sky above the city soars a multitude of dragons, with Ross Weiss in her dragon form standing out among them. Below, Leon, Muin, and Noah look up. Standing at the base of a huge dragon's paw, Leon tells a happily hovering Muin to come down slower so he can catch her. Once in his arms, she asks why he didn't turn into a dragon too. With a nervous grin, Leon tells her that he's good at killing dragons, but as for becoming one, she should forget it. "Can you even transform?" Noah asks suspiciously. Observing the scene, Rossweiss says with a slight smile, "Well," as Leon looks away, extremely embarrassed. The queen explains to her daughters that their father's body hasn't fully recovered, so he can't transform yet. Muin tells him to get better soon, and Leon promises to try his best even though he knows it's impossible. The family heads towards the majestic gates of Heavenly City. As they walk down a busy street, Muin exclaims at how many dragons there are. Rossweiss notices Leon trembling and assumes this is his first time seeing so many dragons since waking up. "Are you frightened?" she leans over and asks. His face lights up with excitement. "Huh. Scared? I'm thrilled. Okay?" Leon's gaze slides over the crowd as he exclaims that there are first-class and second-class trophies at every turn. "I'm going to get rich." Rossweiss puts a hand to her forehead, thinking she was worrying for nothing. The bell above the wooden door of a photo studio jingles. A young dragon staff member and an older woman greet them. "Welcome, Your Majesty, the Silver Dragon Queen. It is our pleasure to serve you and your family." "You're the Silver Dragon Queen?" Leon asks Rossweiss. "Why did you personally come to the store?" She replies that a Dragon King can only command their own clan, and the dragons of Heavenly City don't belong to any clan. With a mischievous grin, Leon teases, "Your queen status is a bit low, isn't it?" "Ouch." Rossweiss cries out but declares, "I'm still higher ranked than you." The elderly female photographer smiles at Rossweiss. "It is an honor to take a family photo for the Silver Dragon Queen. Everyone says my photography skills are the best among the dragon tribe."